Now, the technical aspect of this, I do have some questions on. So I'll chill out just a little bit, and we'll invite on lawyer extraordinaire Jeff O'Brien. Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm face palming a bit, but I'm hanging in there. In the story here, Engen was charged with 2 misdemeanors, a 4th degree DWI and a 4th degree DUI. So I want to work through some of this. So I know that with a DUI, it's simply driving impaired by alcohol, drugs, or both. But a DWI, it's more focused on the blood alcohol concentration being above the legal limit of 0.08. So can you kind of break down the difference between these two and why Engen would have been charged with 2 misdemeanors if they are essentially the same thing?
So, John, my understanding is when you have situations like this, there can be 2 separate charges. There's under the influence, just being under the influence, and then the driving while impaired. They use the term DWI, DUI interchangeably. It's not unheard of to have seeing both of them, in the charge. So it's just 2 separate counts related to the same offense, which can happen. One action can lead to multiple counts.
Is it a police? And I'm probably wording this poorly, but is it like a police CYA move? We're going to charge both depending on the mitigating circumstances with this. I mean, if he blew, according to the report, he ended up blowing a 0.14 or something like this, and then a 0.13, which is certainly would put him in the DWI category. Would you just charge both to make sure that you're covering the bases in terms of the charge?
I think you charge both, so it gives when it goes further, the prosecutor has discretion if there's a plea or something like that they maybe drop one charge and just plead to the other charge and go it that way too.
So Hudson could face a misdemeanor for carrying a firearm while intoxicated. The officer did say that he was compliant, handed over his weapon, showed the officer a valid license and concealed permit. It sounds like he handed over the firearm, the magazines, and the holster, perhaps voluntarily. Now, as of 2:30 yesterday, he was not charged with any crime. I mean, I assume it's still possible that he could be. Would there be a reason why law enforcement would wait to render that charge on him?
No, from what I read from the reports, John, is that because of him being cooperative and cordial, they elected not to charge. Now, the statute you mentioned with the .04 BAC, when if you're a permit holder, if you're above that, you can't be carrying. There's also a visible impairment or intoxication standard too. So in one story I read that it said that he appeared visibly intoxicated, but I saw no report that he was actually administered a breathalyzer. So I don't know how you would charge after the fact if you didn't test at the scene when you're testing the driver. We'll see what the reaction is now that it's out, whether or not they go back and charge because of, public pressure or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder if, and this is just pure speculation on my part as we talk with a lawyer extraordinaire, Jeff O'Brien. I wonder with law enforcement seeing the bottle of alcohol in the child's car seat, Hudson saying it was his bottle, and then assuming he voluntarily handed over his firearm. Since he wasn't driving, could that be a reason why it's like, okay, he's being compliant. He says that's his bottle. He's handing over his firearm. He's not driving, so there's no need to give him a breathalyzer test on the spot. Would that track in your mind?
Yeah, possibly. The rule, the statute says you can't be, intoxicated and carrying the firearm in public, and a vehicle is considered in public. And it sounds like it was on his person. So I think technically the statutory requirements for the violation were met. But for whatever reason, his level of cooperation apparently prompted the officer not to proceed with any sort of, charge charge or any test with him.
Well, lawyer extraordinaire Jeff O'Brien, I threw up the signal to have you come on. I appreciate you popping on to share a little bit more insight on this and details as to what exactly they might be facing. Before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to mention about all of this? Anything else that sticks out to you?
Just to be smart, as you know, John, my practice involves working with a lot of alcohol beverage producers, so I'm around this stuff a lot. And, you just have to be smart about it. This day and age, there's non-alcoholic options. Tonic water with a lime in it looks just like a cocktail. So if you're worried about getting bugged for not drinking, there's a lot of ways to do it. You just, as a legislator, especially on the Republican side, they've got targets on their backs, and they've got to just be careful. They're not going to get the same kind of pass that the other side does.
No. And listen, it's just, hate the game and hate the player, I guess, in this case. It is what it is, but you're absolutely right, and if you're going to be out there criticizing the political opposition and expecting people to do better, then you can't go and make mistakes like this and then, anticipate that you're going to be able to retain the credibility and goodwill that you've kept over a long period of time. It's just also incredibly disappointing, as is the fact that apparently, Jeff, I'm learning that DWIs here in Minnesota are incredibly common. We were looking at some of the stats yesterday, and it's not great. I don't know if it's the cold weather. I don't think you can blame my floor mats being changed out for all of this, but it's all incredibly disappointing and frustrating, Jeff.
Yeah, I know, and I heard one of the talkbacks with some of the other mentioned some of the the DFLers, the famous rolling the car with the White Claw cans falling out and everything. Let's not also forget the current governor got a DUI back in his Nebraska days too.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jeff O'Brien, lawyer extraordinaire. Thanks, buddy. It was good talking with you. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thanks, John.